Welcome back to Blitz Sports Media. Today we're doing a deep dive into the rise of Brock Purdy, a guy that was mystery relevant at one point, a 3-star recruit heading into college, and ultimately now finds himself with $265 million sitting in his lap and the long-term option for the San Francisco 49ers at the quarterback position, with Kyle Shanahan tying himself to his third quarterback during his tenure for the 49ers. Brock Purdy is officially that guy for the 49ers, and though there was a lot of discussion about Purdy potentially holding out without a contract extension, and a lot of people saying that, hey, if the 49ers pay this guy, they are not going to be able to pay a lot of their superstars, and they're going to suffer because of it. Ultimately, though, I don't think this is going to be the case for the 49ers. So let's break down Brock Purdy's crazy journey from his grind as a college recruit through the NFL ranks, ultimately earning this big contract. Let's get right into it. Starting off in high school, he grew up in Gilbert, Arizona at Perry High School, where he was a 3-year starter, and he put up monster numbers there: 8,000 passing yards, 91 touchdowns, and just 29 interceptions. He also added 46 touchdowns on the ground. He was an unbelievable player, and he led his team to the 6A state semifinals, earning himself Arizona Offensive Player of the Year honors. Now, despite the gaudy numbers, Purdy wasn't necessarily a highly touted recruit. He was ranked as the 39th best pocket passer according to ESPN, and big-time programs like Alabama and Texas A&M showed interest, but Nick famously told him, "You're below average in height, your arm strength is whatever, and your accuracy is average." That rejection kind of led Purdy to not necessarily go with some of the bigger schools recruiting him, settled with Iowa State, a smaller program, but ultimately still a Power 5 school where he could earn his keep. At Iowa State now, Purdy walked in the program that hadn't produced many NFL quarterbacks. He started as the third-string quarterback in 2018, where he was on the scout team, learning behind Kyle Kempt and Zeb Noland. But when injuries hit, Purdy got his chance against Week 6 Oklahoma State. He delivered with 318 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, and a 48-42 upset win. From there, he never gave up the starting job. He was a 4-year starter at Iowa State, where he had 12,170 passing yards, 81 touchdowns, 33 interceptions, and a wild 146.1 passer rating across 46 starts. Along that, he also added 1,177 rushing yards, 19 rushing touchdowns, and he set 32 school records, including 14 games with 300 passing yards. I mean, the guy was an absolute monster for the Iowa State Cyclones. He also led the Cyclones to 4 straight winning seasons, a program first since the 1920s, and he took home a Big 12 championship game where they fell to Oklahoma, ultimately falling a little bit short. His 2020 season, though, earned him first-team Big 12 honors, and Purdy was an absolute leader on and off the field, and that led him to the 2022 NFL Draft after being a 4-year starter. Now, at 6'1", 220 pounds, he was a little bit undersized for a pro quarterback, and scouts praised his decision-making and his pocket presence, but the biggest concern with Purdy coming out was his lack of arm strength. Didn't necessarily have a freak arm or any freak skills that popped out the charts, and a 4.8 4.40 didn't necessarily help him by any means. He basically came out as a guy that, I think pretty similar to what Quinn Ewers was coming out from Texas. Ewers was very polished as an SEC and a highly touted recruit. Purdy wasn't that. And coming out, Lance Zierlein projected him as a late-round pick, calling him a smart, competitive backup with limited upside. A lot of people saw him as a day 2 pick, but ultimately falling to day 3, becoming Mr. Irrelevant for the San Francisco 49ers. And, at that point, Purdy gets into his NFL career for the 49ers at this point. During his rookie season, he basically was the third-string quarterback at this point. This is when the 49ers still had Trey Lance and Jimmy Garoppolo in San Francisco. He spent a ton of time with the third stringers, and, early season injuries and Garoppolo going down late in the year provided Purdy the start in Week 13 against the Miami Dolphins. He stepped up big time in that game, throwing 2 touchdowns and a 33-17 win. After that point, Purdy went 5-0 as a starter in the regular season, throwing for 1,374 yards, 13 touchdowns and 4 interceptions with a 107.3 passer rating. And then in the playoffs, he led them to wins over Seattle and the Cowboys before a torn UCL in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles, where we saw Christian McCaffrey suit up as quarterback because the Niners had nobody healthy left. Despite the injury, though, John Lynch touted Purdy as Mr. Relevant after his performances in the 2022 season. After a fully recovered Purdy returned in 2023, he was the clear-cut option for the 49ers as their starting quarterback. He threw for 4,280 yards, 31 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions, posting a league-best 113 passer rating and 9.6 yards per attempt. His accuracy was elite, 69.4 completion percentage, also having a 7.1% touchdown rated. It really helps when you have Kyle Shanahan as your offensive coordinator, earned him a Pro Bowl selection, and fourth in MVP voting. We all know the 2023 season was a special run for this 49ers team, ultimately falling short in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, but Purdy played extremely well during that game and showcased that he can compete with Patrick Mahomes on the biggest stage, and he took down every NFC opponent along the way. Now, last season wasn't necessarily the brightest time during Purdy's NFL career. Purdy returning as a starter once again for his second full season, struggled a little bit, and a lot of injuries along this 49ers team caused them to miss the playoffs. We saw players like Christian McCaffrey, Brandon Ayuk, Trent Williams, Deebo Samuel, all missing a little bit of time last season. And, Deebo Samuel especially was not the same player when he was on the field. Purdy still had a solid season, 3,800 passing yards, 20 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions across 17 starts. Purdy was playing hurt throughout the end of the year as well, and, it didn't necessarily lead to the best season for him when he was on the field, but still really good. Finished 14th ranked quarterback according to PFF despite the injuries, which still goes to show you that he still has a lot of good football ahead of him. And then heading into the 2025 season, we are at the point we are today. Purdy signs a massive deal, $265 million for 5 years with $181 million guaranteed, $53 million average. Now, this ties Jared Goff as the second highest in the NFL, and it's still behind Tua's massive contract on an average annual value. I think right around that Jared Goff value, though, is perfect for Brock Purdy. I mean, we've seen the Lions still stack a bunch of talent around Jared Goff and had a lot of money to spend. Otherwise, the 49ers are a little bit different constructed. Obviously, they have a little bit older veterans that need money, but at this point, they completely restructured their roster this offseason, going with the youth route and trying to get a younger defense with a lot of picks on that side of the draft. And I really like what the 49ers are doing here. They had a choice. Do we want to, continue to pay some of our players that have been here, inconsistent production, offer them massive contracts, or we want to go get our quarterback paid? They made a smart decision, and they went out and got the best quarterback of the Kyle Shanahan era paid. And, to this point, a 24-16 record as a starter and 9-2 in the playoffs, you pay that guy a good amount of money. And we've seen other quarterbacks who don't necessarily have the production or the skill that I've seen from Purdy on tape get contracts very similar to this. So I feel like the 49ers are absolutely walking away with a great deal here with Purdy. Purdy gets himself a bag, going from Mr. Irrelevant turned NFL superstar. What do you guys think? Is this a good contract for the San Francisco 49ers and Brock Purdy long term? Is this going to cause them to not be as talented? Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think. Hit that subscribe button for more Blitz Sports Media content, and I will catch you guys next time.